Have you ever just felt totally trapped? Like you're running endlessly in this traditional academic rat race? You're checking off the boxes, taking on mountains of debt, and memorizing facts, but never actually learning how to command your own life? It really begs the question, is your education preparing you to survive, or is it preparing you to actually live? It's a pretty profound question. And honestly, for a lot of folks trapped under student loans and endless career treadmills, the answer is uncomfortably clear. Well, let's dive right into this, because today we are breaking down a framework that literally shatters that traditional trap. Welcome to today's Explainer. We are exploring the absolutely fascinating philosophy of R.E.L. M. That's Ariel Manzanares-Scisney, for the record. We're looking closely at his book, Majesty in Monotony. Think of this as an action scientist's guide to the universe, a real game changer that bridges cosmic physics with everyday ground-level economics. Okay, so to truly understand this philosophy, we first got to go all the way down to the absolute bottom of the cosmic scale. Imagine the microscopic world of quantum chemistry. We're talking subatomic level here. Down here, electrons aren't just, sitting still. No way. They are rapidly popping in and out of existence from matter fields. It's basically like this endless microscopic rave, or like violent ripples in a pond. This is the fundamental, chaotic, vibrating building block of everything you are and everything you interact with. It's erratic, it's super energetic, and it is happening right now, literally inside of you. Now, let's take a breath and zoom out from that subatomic rave to the human scale, the number 3. For most people walking the Earth, their entire perspective is hopelessly limited to about a 3-mile visual horizon. Depending on your height and where you're standing, that's roughly where the sky meets the Earth, right? But metaphorically, that's exactly where most people's vision stops. They only see the immediate problems, the next paycheck, the immediate stress. They are entirely stuck inside a 3-mile radius of thought. But what if we violently scale the narrative up, like 40 orders of magnitude up? 46 billion. That is the distance in light years to the absolute edge of the visible cosmos. When you adopt the perspective of an astrophysicist, you completely stop looking at that 3-mile horizon, and you start visualizing a universe so vast it just shatters your ego. Once you calculate the sheer mind-bending scale of galaxies, local groups, and the cosmic microwave background, the everyday monotony of life suddenly takes on this profound, breathtaking majesty. True perspective only happens when you realize exactly where you are in this 46 billion light-year arena. And this massive shift in perspective brilliantly illustrates why we need a totally new kind of guide. Enter Ariel's unique persona, the action scientist. You see, your traditional tutor just sits at a desk and forces you to memorize equations so you can pass a test. Well, an action scientist shatters that mold completely. They're a mentor who bridges rigorous, high-level academic theory with real-world physical and economic discipline. It's all about taking the scientific method, questioning, observing, predicting, and applying it to both the cosmos and, crucially, your bank account. Now, Ariel's credentials are as diverse as they are intense. First off, he secured his astrophysics degree from CU Boulder in just 3 years, meticulously planning his credits just to avoid a mountain of student debt. Smart, right? Second, he conducted origins of life in quantum chemistry research at Harvard University. Third, he served as the director of the Robert H. Johnson Planetarium. Oh, and fourth, he isn't just a desk-bound academic. The guy is a 4th-degree black belt in song-arm taekwondo, and he's been teaching martial arts for over a decade. He literally physically embodies the discipline that he teaches. So the really crucial point here is how all these experiences fuse together. Back during his time directing the planetarium, Ariel didn't just stand there and operate a digital projection system. Actually, he and his colleagues acted as true ambassadors to knowledge. They lifted audiences right off the Earth and flew them to the edge of the universe. And that specific experience forged his lifelong mission. He wants to take incredibly complex, intimidating cosmic truths and make them accessible, inspiring, and profoundly relevant to everyday people. But you might be wondering, how do you actually ground that immense cosmic scale? Well, you aim for what he calls intellectual sovereignty. This is the ultimate goal for any parent or student out there looking for elite mentorship. It's not just about learning STEM or critical thinking in a vacuum. No, it's about combining those disciplines with macroeconomics. Ariel realized super early on that he hated the academic trap, constantly begging for grant money to fund his research. He realized that to be truly free, to fund your own research and actually own your time, you must understand the economy. You have to achieve intellectual sovereignty. And the real-world impact of this methodology is just massive. Ariel has proven this system with over 300 distinct clients in just 3 years. That is a huge amount of impact. He's gone from helping young kids master the absolute basics of reading all the way to guiding university students through the brutal fluid dynamics of atmospheric science and quantum mechanics. He has spent thousands of hours in one-on-one mentorship, proving that when you teach students how to think like an action scientist, the results are, quite frankly, explosive.
Let's actually take a second to clearly juxtapose these two mindsets. On one side, you have working to survive. This is that traditional academic trap we talked about. You get a degree, you take on massive debt, you become a slave to your loans, and your education essentially becomes a set of golden chains. But on the other side, you have working to live. This is Ariel's multidisciplinary strategy. By understanding macroeconomics, leveraging assets, and applying scientific critical thinking to your finances, you achieve total autonomy. You hit financial independence. You literally stop surviving, and you finally start living.
But hey, let's not get lost in the clouds here, because despite our grand cosmic origins, despite being forged in the fiery cores of ancient stars, we are all still, fundamentally, a clump of fat and salty water. Yep, that is the biological reality. We get tired, we get hungry, and we have to navigate some incredibly complex economic systems just to keep this clump of fat and salty water alive and thriving. We need resources, we need leverage, and we definitely need a solid plan. Which brings us to the ultimate framework of the action scientist. The book is the source code. Majesty in Monotony lays down the foundational philosophy, the cosmic perspective, and the undeniable scientific truths that completely rewrite how you view your place in the universe. The tutoring is the training. You can't just read the source code, right? You have to run the drills. The rigorous one-on-one mentorship is exactly where the philosophy meets physical and mental discipline. Think of it as a martial arts dojo for your mind, perfectly preparing you to tackle both calculus and real-world economics. AI is the runtime. Look, in today's economy, a human simply cannot outwork an algorithm. It's just a fact. But by utilizing modern technological leverage, understanding automated markets, and using AI as a tool to multiply your own efforts, you escape the trap of trading your limited time for money. The portfolio is the output. When you combine the source code, the training, and the runtime, the ultimate result is a tangible, highly successful portfolio. Intellectual sovereignty isn't just some abstract idea. It is a measurable output that buys back your time, funds your curiosity, and absolutely guarantees your autonomy. So, I want to leave you with this final, somewhat provocative thought. You know the sheer scale of the universe now. You know the difference between working to survive and working to live. The framework is right here in front of you. So, are you ready to see past the 3-mile horizon? It's time to stop looking down at your feet and start looking up at the cosmos. Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I seriously challenge you to apply this perspective to your everyday life.